If you're an intermediate drummer who's hit a coordination roadblock, today's lesson is for you. Are you dealing with the one limb always following another issue where you just can't split your limbs apart from one another? This is frustrating, obviously, because you lose patience over time since you can't seem to ever play anything syncopated or interesting on the drums. But don't worry, because today I'm teaching you two really fun and musical polyrhythms that will split your limbs apart automatically and actually help you to improvise more musical syncopated patterns and ultimately give you freedom on your instrument. You can do this. Hey, welcome to the Non-Glamorous Drummer. I'm so glad you're hanging out today. I'm here to help you become the musician other people want to jam with and have in their band. And we do this by teaching you the non-glamorous core skills that help you grow faster. Speaking of which, I've got a free gift for you in the description below I want you to grab that's going to really help you grow quickly. It is called 30 Days to 4-Way Rock Coordination. Why is coordination important? Because with coordination, you can play the ideas you hear in your head and everything is fun and easy on the drums. Seriously, it's like a superpower. When you build coordination, you can play anything. But without coordination, everything is difficult, everything is frustrating, everything is tedious. And so that's why I want you to build coordination. If you are new to the drums, you absolutely have got to grab this guide because it's going to help you out so much so that you're playing what you hear in your head. This is a step-by-step, day-by-day thing. If it takes you over 30 days, no worries, it's okay. Everybody works at a different pace. But so many students tell me when they get to days 10 through 15, kind of get past that sophomore slump, that's where you start to see serious results. So just stick with it. This guide's going to help you a bunch. It's there in the description, totally free. Go grab it. On with today's lesson. So our big challenge here, our big frustrating issue that we have all been through and are all going through at some point or another is that one limb wants to follow another and not really break apart from it. You just can't seem to break them apart. For a lot of people, the right hand can keep time great, but the right foot always wants to follow it. And so when you're trying to improvise a kick drum pattern, you can't because your kick drum is always wanting to follow your timekeeping hand, or your left hand on the snare is wanting to follow the timekeeping hand. And so you have a hard time playing any kind of ghost notes or anything on the snare. So what's really cool is that we can actually fix this with the polyrhythms. It's going to be a lot of fun. I remember being in this same spot in my playing where in order to do anything syncopated, let's say I was playing a 4 on the floor. In order to play anything syncopated, I would have to just play alternating 16ths and then play accents, kind of like this. Which is fine, but what I could not do was this. I didn't have the coordination to actually isolate them, and that was frustrating. Basically, if I stripped out all the extra notes I was playing, I felt naked and I couldn't do it. And so you might find that to be the case too, where you can't actually have both limbs offset and play in an improvisatory way because one is really always wanting to follow. And so that was the struggle I had. Literally until I started working on simple polyrhythms, which really did automatically split my limbs apart. It's going to do the same for you. This is going to be a lot of fun because these are super musical and you hear them in so many songs. So all we're going to do is use these musical polyrhythms to split your limbs apart in a fun way. The two polyrhythms are, as you probably saw in the thumbnail, the 4/3 and 3/2. Now we're actually going to start with the 3/2 because theoretically it's a little bit simpler and easier, and then we'll talk about the 4/3. So the 3/2, I like to call this the Carol of the Bells polyrhythm because if I play it on the rim of the snare here, the rhythm that you're going to hear is this. And that's a great way to remember it. What we're doing is we're playing 2 notes with one hand in the space that it takes to play 3 notes with the other hand. So if you hear Carol of the Bells in your head, that's a song in 6/8, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you could think of it as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We get that 3 going right here with the right hand. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then with the left hand we play 1 to 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So right hand is playing a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Left hand is playing a 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll do this back and forth again for you and play 1 on my leg, 1 on the rim. So here's 3 on the rim, 2 on my leg. And you can kind of just hack the process by going both right, left, right, both right, left, right, both right, left, right. Total cheat, total hack there, just going both right, left, right. And as you do that, what I want you to do is think intentionally about what is my right hand doing, what's my left hand doing, move left hand to the leg, right hand here, right hand to the leg, left hand here, and specifically listen to what each one is doing. This is building independence and coordination because your ear is connecting with each hand by itself and learning to individually control that hand independent of the other. Because here's how you can take this a step further and really extract a lot of value out of it. Practice playing one hand louder than the other, like this. Just like that, phase one loud and then phase the other loud. I call this dynamic independence. We want to be able to independently control our dynamics between our hands. That will really build a lot of really cool independence here. So that's a great first way to practice it if you're new to this. Then do it with different limb combinations. Practice doing it between right hand and right foot. Also practice, so right there we were doing the 3 on the tom, the 2 on the kick. Flip it around and go. Doing the 3 on the kick, the 2 on the tom. It'll feel totally different. Practice it with the feet. Or you get the idea, or right hand and left foot. Obviously, you've got all these different limb combinations you can do. Target each one of those. And when you're playing with your hands, put different hands on different surfaces. That way your ear is hearing different things and you're hitting with different dynamics. You'd be amazed how much this actually does for your coordination. It's so simple, and I love things like this that are so simple, but that helps so much. It breaks these limbs apart. And so practice this with the different limb combinations until it's feeling fluid, it's feeling natural, and you can just do this in your sleep. I think the 3/2 is a very easy one to do in your sleep. And I'll share with you some more examples of how this shows up in music a little later. But now, let's jump into the 4/3. So the 3/2, we were calling that the Carol of the Bells polyrhythm because we can literally just hear Carol of the Bells, bum, dun, 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 bum, dun, bum, bum, which is kind of our hint as to how this one shows up in music. It often shows up in 6/8 songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. But our next polyrhythm, the 4/3, more commonly shows up in 4/4 songs, generally speaking. So it's something we'll hear in a lot of just normal songs. 4/4 is the much more common time signature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And a lot of times it'll show up as a dotted 8th rhythm. If you don't know music theory, no worries. Just forget that I just said that. But dotted 8s a lot of times are how, that's the context of how this will show up in 4/4. So the 4/3 sounds like this. Now the irony of what I just said is that it shows up in 4/4 all the time, but what I just played you is really in 3/4 technically. If I play 3, a slow 3 with my right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I can then play a faster 4 with my left hand, just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So for every 3 notes here with the right hand, I'm playing 4 with the left, and then they line up again. And so we could count this as 3/4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll do it right hand here on the rim, left hand on the leg, and flip it around like we did with the 3/2. And so that rhythm, when we just hear it all together, both left, right, left, both left, right, left, both left, right, left. Get that rhythm stuck in your head. It's like a melody. Dun, 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 boom. And it shows up, it really does show up in a lot of songs. You'll start to notice these things as you listen to music after this lesson. bum, bum, dum, bum, dum, bum, both, left, right, left. That's a great way to do it. Of course, you can reverse it and go both, right, left, right. Switch it around any other way you want to do it and have the right hand do the 4, the left hand do the 3. I always like to start out this way, having the right hand playing the beat. Now, we've done it in a 3/4 context here, but really most of the time this is going to show up in regular 4/4 songs. So what we want to do is play the polyrhythm where it starts on beat 1, and then it's going to land on beat 4. We'll have a little space there, and then we'll restart it. So really, most of the time it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we just have that pause. It lands on beat 4, pause there, and then we restart on the next downbeat instead of repeating it over and over again as we would if we were in 3. So now if we're in 4, we have that space there, that extra beat. 2, 3, 4. Both, left, right, left, both, left, right, left. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just like with the 3/2, practice it with different combinations. That's where I want you to just get creative and have fun with it. Practice the dynamic independence thing too, of going just like that, and you'll extract even more coordination value out of this as you split your limbs apart and learn to control them individually and control their sound, placement around the kit, and dynamics individually. That is so powerful. So now, what's next? Those are the polyrhythms. They're simple. It's not rocket science. Give it a little bit of time to get these in your head, but once you can hear those rhythms, you'll find yourself just sitting there and playing these all the time. And that's what I want you to do. When you're sitting there at your desk at work, you're sitting there at your kitchen table eating, you're in the car at a red light, hear these rhythms, practice them. Or the 3/2. Because once they get in your head, once they get stuck there, they're never going to go anywhere. You're never going to forget these. That's the great thing about rhythm and melody. It stays in our head. You know, it's not really math. It's rhythm, it's melody. And so it feels like music. And so let these things float around in your head, practice them, tap your feet on the floor. You can practice these different limb combinations just sitting in a chair. Like just tap your feet on the floor, tap your hands on armrests. You don't even have to be at the kit, and you can literally build coordination away from your drum set. And hey, maybe that's something we should make an entire lesson about, because there's power behind that, honestly. When you're away from your kit, but you practice, tapping rhythms, playing beats between different limb combinations, that can really help push your coordination, because coordination is mental. When you're away from the drum set, you can still build it. That's a great way to do it. So what's next? Let's talk a little bit about hearing these in music. That way you can use these in different contexts, because what's the good of something like this? I mean, there is some good. We're straight up building coordination, but that's kind of boring. How can we use this? Where can we use this? So I want you to find songs that use these rhythms. There really are a lot of songs that you're going to start noticing. You're going to hear the 3/2 in 6/8 songs all the time. So that's the Carol the Bells rhythm. So in different recordings or arrangements of Carol the Bells, you might kind of hear this pattern. A very common context for this polyrhythm in 6/8 is where the right hand is doing the timekeeping. Just like that, basic beat. But we could do a dotted pattern on the kick drum. Don't worry about what that means if you don't know music theory. Point is, the kick is going to play a 2 for every 3 up here on the right hand with our timekeeping. And so we're going to create this polyrhythm between our timekeeping hand and our kick drum. And that rhythm shows up in 6/8 songs all the time, where you're playing along. And so it's a really cool, like, metric modulation sort of thing you can do, where you're playing these groupings of 3, but then you can create a 2 feel or a 4 feel within that creates this cool kind of syncopation. And that gives you it's a lot of fun, for one thing. It gives you a lot of creative freedom when you're playing in 6/8 to then go. so much cool stuff you can do with that. And when you get these polyrhythms in your head, you get that feel, you can start improvising them into grooves. And so that's how you'll commonly hear a 3/2. A lot of different 6/8 songs. Boom, doom, doom, bam, doom, doom. Because again, 6/8 is 2 groupings of 3, 3 and then 3. And so you can have a 3/2 happen twice there within that 6/8 measure. But the 4/3 is even more common because it shows up in 4/4 songs all the time, especially in worship songs. So you fellow worship drummers out there, I know a lot of you guys who watch these videos are playing at your church, which is awesome. I've been playing in church for like 14 years now, since I was in high school. And so many of these modern worship songs have these tom parts that we kind of jokingly refer to as worship toms, like this. Literally that pattern right there, and that shows up as my rack tom stand loosens itself here. And that pattern shows up in so many of these different songs, and maybe there's like a snare on beat 4. That is in so many worship songs. It feels so good, it fits so well in like that 70 to 80 beats per minute range. And so if you were playing in church, you're gonna already be using this a bunch, and maybe you've already been using this a bunch, and now you're giving it a name. Now you understand, oh, that's what it is I'm playing. And as you can build this independence, you're playing the 3 on the kick and the 4 on the floor tom. Remember, boom. Dun, 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 both, dun, 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 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes you can throw in a snare there on 4. So that is a super common example of the 4/3 polyrhythm in a drum groove. Basically the jungle drums, the jungle toms, the worship toms, whatever they are to you in the style of music that you're playing. That's a super common context for that. Something else, a lot of times in songs, you'll hear a guitar player playing like a dotted rhythm, where let's say the tempo is 1, 2, 3, 4, and the guitar player might be playing something with like a dotted 8th delay, which makes it go boom, dun, 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 dun. It's a very U2 kind of thing. If you go listen to like YouTube, Where the Streets Have No Name, you hear that kind of effect. It's like an echo kind of thing that feels like it's at a faster tempo. In that example, the guitar is playing a 4 on top of the quarter note pulse, which is the 3. And so if we're playing a groove like this, and then a guitar comes in with that dotted 8th note pattern, that actually becomes the 4 on top of this, which would be like. Something like that, boom, dun, 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 which creates a really cool feel. Also, there are a lot of grooves that are kind of like this, where you might have, and on the kick, we throw in a 4 to go underneath the 3, and it would sound like this. Same thing we were doing before, just different instrumentation, different limb combination. 1 and a to the end of 3 and a both. Directly, the 4/3 polyrhythm here is happening between right hand and right foot. The 3 is up here, 4 is down here. Remember, we land on beat 4, space, and then we restart. And then we could go to 8th notes. And so you can really tap into a lot of cool syncopation when you do that, which is a lot of fun. So I hope that gives you some insight into where you can hear and find and use these 4/3 and 3/2 polyrhythms. And I hope you see the power behind these and how you can really break apart your limbs and be able to play creative, syncopated stuff and be able to step outside of the regular groove, because that's what's cool here. When you understand these, you can be in a 6/8 feel or a 4/4 feel and then impose a different feel of a different time signature by using these polyrhythms. That's what we were doing in 6/8. That's what we're doing here in 4/4 when we go. Because the kick's going faster. It's like it feels like it's going at a faster tempo, which is really cool. And so we can propel the music forward and step out of the groove a little bit. We've still got one foot in, but the other foot can step out. That's so cool and creates such a cool syncopation and tension. And these are the kinds of things that you learn to improvise and you get really good at when you practice this. So Have fun, practice the polyrhythms patiently, go back and review that portion of this lesson. You can watch it over and over again, but get these playing in your head, practice them on the go, between limbs, away from the kit, and I promise you, it really will revolutionize your coordination. You'll be amazed what happens when you stick with this. So question for you, which polyrhythm is your favorite? The 4/3 is my favorite. I love the 4/3 and I probably use it the most. But hey, if I were playing a whole set of 6/8 songs, well, I guess the 3/2 would probably become my favorite then, because that's really its big chance to shine and show up there in 6/8. So tell me which one you like more. You'll probably find that you end up hearing and using at least one of these a whole bunch. One of them is going to be your favorite. So tell me in the comments below. But hey, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope this has been a lot of fun. I hope this has been valuable to you. Be sure to go grab that free 30 Days to 4-Way Rock Coordination Guide. Without coordination, everything's tough and frustrating and it's hard to get anywhere on the drums. But with coordination, everything's fun and easy, and you can play what you hear in your head and you can have fun. So go grab that. Know that you can do this. I'll see you on the next lesson. Stay non-glamorous.